simply magical. This entire sequence is just jaw-dropping. Seeing Frieren just absolutely obliterate this magical barrier is just such a spectacle, and it once again goes into one of the big themes of just like magic within this show, and like the journey of discovering new things to just like the end goal. There's so much to really take away from just this sequence to the Denkin sequence with Frieren, fighting him. There's a lot really to take away, and man, do I just love this spectacle that this episode really provides. It is so good, even if it's very brief. These little animation sequences of these two fighting, to other little sequences going on. It's just, it's a gorgeous episode. Studio Madhouse truly was cooking with this. And I love the very presence that Frieren gives off in this episode, showcasing just how skilled she is. Like, look at her just menacingly, like, up in the air, just floating and all that. It's a very interesting sequence, and it's kind of like, it's odd seeing this old guy that you would assume, because of how he looks, he would be the expert in magic. Like, if you were to look at this series out of context, okay, you didn't know the title, you didn't know the story or anything, and you were to look at a panel with this elf girl, I mean, you're seeing this old man Dinkin, you would assume that Dinkin probably is the stronger one, because he looks older, wiser, and usually when people think of like magic casters or magic in general, they think of the older looking person stronger. Clearly Frieren is the older person, but people would instantly side with Denkin. I love the theme of that as well, showcasing how deceptive Frieren can be because of just how timeless her aging is, because she is an elf, and how, like, someone like Denkin, he is a really skilled mage. Clearly we see that, but, he has nothing in comparison to someone that's lived over like 1,000 years. But, getting into one of the themes of this episode, I want to talk about that, is the essence of magic, or what it means to enjoy magic. And it plays with the main central theme of what Frieren is about, and that is the journey, not necessarily the ending. And I think that is a big thing that this story has always been presented. Hell, the story's name is Frieren Beyond Journey's End, is the main title of the series, and it perfectly plays with that theme with this episode, that, with the whole mage that knows basically every spell in existence, and is, a living grimoire and all that, Frieren pretty much, it's clear she doesn't like the individual. Like, she does not like this elf here that knows all this magic, because what they desire, what they want, is fundamentally very different than what Frieren wants as an individual. And let's get into how this kind of plays with the main theme of the story. So this elf character, basically, is someone that is a war mage. From what is briefly established, is that this character is someone that likes a chaotic time period, someone that loves fighting, someone that loves it to where there is just advancement in war magic and just having powerful fights and showcasing of spells and all that, someone that just, likes power, or likes the feeling of just powerful people going at each other, just, chaotic times, the simplest way to really describe it. Well, Frieren as a character is the exact opposite. She is a product of peaceful times, which is very interesting, because when you look at, like, her character, and from what has been established with Frieren's character, is that she comes from a backstory to where her entire town was obliterated by demons, and we know thanks to that is why she met her mentor and all that, and eventually began to learn magic and stuff. The whole reason Frieren even is where she's at is thanks to her mentor saving her from the demons. But Frieren as well, should harbor a lot of hatred, which it's kind of clear she does, but it's like she should probably want to completely annihilate maybe all demons or whatever, but she doesn't necessarily do that. She just wants to live in peace and be relaxed, and that's clearly how different she is from this other character that seeks war or confrontation, while Frieren really doesn't want that. She wants a peaceful time, and I love this very message here, that Frieren is about the journey, while this other elf is someone about the ending. And it's kind of like the main message of any story. People think about, like, the ending, not the journey, and let's get into that one. So a good example here is any story. Attack on Titan as of late, or Tokyo Ghoul a few years back. But, like, with any story, it eventually comes to an end. And a lot of people, when they think about a story's conclusion, they think about the conclusion. Like, they only think about that. They only think about the ending in the beginning. They don't really think about the in-between content within the story. There is some that do, obviously. But most of the time, when people think back on the story, they think of the ending. That's the truth, okay? And basically what the message here is that Frieren wants to appreciate the journey in its entirety, not just the conclusion or the means, like, to get to the end. Like, she doesn't just want the ending. She wants the journey. That's what she appreciates. And so the thought of searching after magic that she doesn't know what she is going to obtain, is what, makes her strive forward to continue to be a mage, is that she wants to just have this world of mystery. And if she knew that she could get every spell instantly and have her conclusion, that's not a really satisfying payoff. So that's kind of the main theme that the episode kind of gives off, and I really like that. It plays very well with the title of the story, but also what Frieren has been doing as a character, and it kind of paints this picture with this character that Frieren doesn't like her. It's very obvious that Frieren has some form of animosity towards this character, because it's like, with this whole barrier sequence, like, when you look at this barrier and how it, like, breaks and all that, it lets us know that Frieren analyzing this barrier, she knew who made this barrier. It's very apparent, just judging by this very sequence after the flashback we got. She knew who made this, she knows who did it, and she basically wanted to prove that, yeah, your barrier isn't all powerful, there is ways to break it, and completely shattered it. And, I like that. I really just like this little sequence and all that. It's very... it's very Frieren-like. I don't know. I love this episode. It's really good. Now, another thing I do want to talk about is the part here with Fern, and how she basically says she just uses basic, spells and stuff, and she's very boring. And I think that this fundamentally does summarize Fern as a character, because she gives off this presentation of a very boring person. She has no expressionless, so you could see just from the screenshot here, but she is someone who just uses magic that doesn't have any emotion behind it. She just casts a barrage of attack spells, defensive spells, and is very basic, application of magic. But as I've talked about already in my previous, episode reviews, is that Fern doesn't need to have any fancy spells. She just overloads people by just completely outputting so much magic at once that people just can't keep up. That she's just, while someone is processing one spell, she's shooting 10 at you at once. It's just like, holy crap, it's very hard to deal with, especially like putting up multiple barriers and stuff at once to block 10 shots coming at you. It really causes people to go for their mana very quickly. The same for Fern, but Fern is obviously very gifted. I love, just once again what we got a little bit more with Fern's character with these episodes of just how her battle style actually is and what Frieren has taught her. Now, besides all of that, though, I am looking forward to just, like, more Denkin. If there is one thing I really liked about this episode, or this arc in general, is this. Like, Denkin is... goodness gracious, dude. I love this character. Like, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if we're not counting the main cast, like Stark, Fern, and all that type of stuff, Frieren, Denkin's probably my favorite. Like, I love this man. Like, dude, he quickly won me over in these past few episodes, because it's like, as I said when we first introduced, he comes off as this character very calloused or cold, someone that just wouldn't care about life or whatever, but then when you see his character and how he actually acts, it's completely different. He is someone that has seen a lot of bad stuff in his life, and he doesn't want more bad stuff to happen. He also is someone that wants a peaceful time period, very similar to Frieren. He's a kindred spirit, and I like that. He's a great character. I hope that we get to see more of him, because, it would be such a waste not to have more of him. He's a cool character. I hope he becomes very important to the plot as the story goes on, because, I don't know, he seems to, like, have a lot of factors that just fall very in line with Frieren, and I hope to see more conversation between the two characters. I want that. But, yeah, overall, besides that type of stuff, man, Frieren as a series is so good. It's crazy to think that just in a few weeks now, it's going to be over. Like, yeah, I mean, look at this. We're on episode 21. I believe Frieren is going to have like 25, 26 episodes. So, yeah, a few more weeks from now, we're going to have the ending of such a good show. And man, I'm going to miss this, dude. I really hope a season 2 is announced, because if there's any series that deserves it, it is definitely this. But if there's also one thing that this show has proven as well, is that, Really, the animators, the freelancers, everyone that has been working on the show has truly been putting their all into this series, and I want more of it. I think that they are doing just such a fantastic job that it would be such a waste not to have a continuation. But I'm going to wrap it up there. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the fundamental themes. I want to talk about this beautiful action sequence. And man, it's so nice to have a series like this week by week on Friday. Because Fridays really are just one of my favorite days of the week. Just because of how gorgeous this series is. But I want to leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this week's episode. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Be honest in the comments below. But with that, be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.